been made abundantly clear watching this last episode is that we have only seen the very tip of the iceberg. There is so much beyond the surface.
I just got done watching that Diddy show on Netflix. That man deserves so much more time, bruh. We let a whole sociopath just roam around the streets.
This Diddy documentary, everybody who talks about him talks about how he was a loser in many ways. But what made him magnetic, not that talented, more sneaky than actually strategic, and really charming, only to be incredibly mean, cruel, and violent. As a society, there's something wrong with us. On a spiritual level, visionary artists, musicians, everything's visual, but nothing's visionary.
The more that I sit with this documentary, the more it becomes crystal clear to me, this isn't just a story about Diddy. This is a story about power, protection, silence, and people who paid the price for somebody else's ego. And the stuff they showed, the patterns, the witnesses, the footage, baby, this is years of truth finally crawling out of the shadows.
Hello? Yeah, I know, I want my 90s back too. The Diddy doc just dropped, and wow, I hate to say that I'm not shocked. Hey Visionaries, it's A back on your screen with another one. If you're tuned into this where podcasts are played, you're listening to the Authentic with Alicia pod, where we keep it real and rooted in purpose. I'm sure by now you have either seen, heard, or watched the entire 4-part doc, and let me just say, Curtis 50 Cent came with Christmas early, because 50 Cent is the king of petty, and for him to EP along with some people in the industry this documentary that is a great expose. I wouldn't call it a hit piece, but it's definitely an expose. I had to break it up into 2 parts. I watched part 1 and 2 a couple days ago and then finished 3 and 4 last night because my soul, this stuff does not sit well with my spirit. It's still a lot to process, especially when you see the pieces being put together with this perspective. You know, most documentaries will give you the facts and leave it for your own interpretation. This does that, but there's clearly a little bit of a bias too, which I don't mind because honestly, at the end of the day, Diddy's done some dirt. Whether you love him or hate him, it's undeniable that he is a music media mogul that has made his mark in the world. I have to at least give him credit for that. He, although a part of hip hop, does not speak for hip hop, and I'm so sick of people saying that this is a commentary on the culture. It really isn't. This is a commentary about one man who happened to make a big impact on hip hop. But the story of hip hop is far from done. What is it, 51 years old? With the evolution of music, there are gonna be some maniacs in the mix, and he just happens to be one of them. Usually what I do with this podcast is I share 3 keys that align with authenticity and the topic. But since this one's a little heavy, I'm gonna break it up into 4 parts, 1 for each episode. I did not like the first episode, but I guess it was a setup for the next 3. Part 2 and 3 left me with a lot of thoughts and questions. We'll get into that in a second. Episode 1 is perfectly titled Pain versus Love. Not even for the documentary, but for this enigma that is Diddy. When I was learning about his early beginnings, his origin story, if you will, I kept asking myself, and I'm gonna ask you, would he be as successful as he is had he not endured what he did? Coming from a home of abuse and seeing some of the things that no child should see, it's the pipeline to the white parties, to the way that he was with women, to how he robbed his musicians. It just makes you wonder, could he have been any other way given the circumstances that he was fostered in, the family that he grew up in, the means in which he was able to build himself up in the music industry? There's a dichotomy of terror and tenacity where he has this unapologetic ambition, and he has this fuel and fire and voraciousness that got him to where he is. But could he have done it without being the way he is? It begs the question, can a billionaire ever be ethical?
And this is exactly why I say that there is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. Okay? This documentary showed me that the reason why Diddy was able to be as successful as he was, he had to exploit every single person that he worked with in order to prop himself up.
I finished all 4 parts of that Diddy series directing. You don't become a billionaire by being a good person. Nobody got paid.
One of the things Netflix did so well is advertise it as never seen before footage. We've heard most of this stuff, so how are they gonna give us what we've already gotten? Some of the scenes of the stampede, of him as a child, was just was very jarring and unsettling, and it just, it made me shiver. Mr. Steal Your Girl, why would you want what was already had by one of your friends? I don't get it. Do you think someone like Diddy is capable of love, or is his understanding of love so synonymous, so misaligned, and maybe even miswired with pain that he causes pain to the people that he cares about? Is he even capable of love? I don't know. Part 2 was fittingly titled What Goes Down Must Come Up, as if to say what's done in the dark comes to light, and that goes for everybody across industries. As I mentioned before, this is not about hip-hop. Leave hip-hop out of this. As much as he's a part of hip-hop had no parts of his foolery. It's got to be a mix of personality and tax bracket. I feel like that's the recipe, but you can let me know your thoughts below. That recording of Keefe D and then the connection with Orlando and Tupac and fighting and all of that, it's never been served on a platter in that way before, where it leaves you angry.
Told differently. Basically blames Puff for Biggie and Pac.
Tupac was my dad's favorite growing up, so by proxy, he was mine too. To know we lived through a time where this occurred in real time ties into this month's theme for my podcast, which is time capsules. As I'm seeing some of the familiar footage, I'm feeling the similar sentiments I felt back then, even as a child, not completely understanding, but knowing that his death was senseless. And now seeing the never seen before footage and having a different vantage point has been a different type of disturbing. I think Kirk mentions at the end of part 2 or the beginning of part 3 that Biggie had no business being in LA and actually didn't want to go, but Diddy urged him because of ego. He has the accounting to prove the finances, the money that was moved, the planes that were booked, and all of that. Long division just leads to this self-absorbed man not caring about anything else but himself. Put a hit apparently on Suge and Pac. I don't know how much of this is true to this day, because how can we really corroborate any of this? As of recording, it's also coming out that someone from Biggie's camp spoke to the Breakfast Club to say that some of the allegations aren't true. So who's to say? I don't know. That's the thing about these kind of docs. You never know. The way that it was presented to us in part 2, I was so heated. I went to bed angry.
I heard the rumors before. There's always been theories that Diddy was behind Tupac's death, that he was behind Biggie's death. We heard about the freak-offs. So on the surface, a lot of it wasn't a shock to me, but the details in evidence, especially from the people that were in close proximity to Diddy, had me thinking, wow, we had no idea.
Part 3, which is Official Girl, which is one of my favorite Cassie songs. I remember I used to have that on repeat on my old iPod Nano. Seeing everything from this side of things, I almost feel like an accessory to the crime, because I used to love Diddy's music. Him and Dark Child. Dark Child was my everything. I'm honestly still contending with that in real time. There's so many songs from multiple artists that we know that he took advantage of or allegedly abused, and at the very least there was some mix up with money. And wherever you fall on the line with starving artists signing contracts they have no business signing because they're signing for fame and not fame and fortune, I still wonder, did he have to do all of that for the infinity pool, for the multiple homes, for his children to have everything they could ever want? Couldn't he still spread the funds to the people that helped him get to where he is? After all, they were the talent. Episode 3 zeroes in on his relationship with women, which I thought said a lot less about relationships, but more so his relationship with power and how he used power to exert over women or men. It was all too mixy for me, honestly. I know it was a necessary part of creating a character case around Diddy and how he treats the people closest to him. All I gotta say is all that glitters isn't gold, and never envy anyone because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Part 3 is when we get introduced to the 2 jurors, and I don't know how to feel about them honestly, because I wouldn't want to do it 7 weeks of deliberation and all those details. The little bit that I heard from Omar Wiggins and Lovely T, I was like, please. Now I want to sue Diddy for knowing what he got up to, because I don't need to know all these details about baby oil. I appreciate the artistic direction of the documentary. They didn't give away too many details. The guy did ask, like, yo, you keep taking my stuff, what are you doing? And the guy's like, we drink it. Oh, okay. Some people cannot conceptualize what manipulation or conditioning is. I'm going to be very careful about my words because we are on YouTube over here. The man mentioning that they were just an interesting couple really downplays what was happening. I think the lady put it better. She said he was not on trial for DV, which is the truth. For her to not believe Capricorn was baffling to me. I just thought, why would Capricorn make it up? It's very obvious that Capricorn wanted her job back because that was her whole life. It's clear that KK's a ride or die for Diddy. The most moving part was when Audrey O'Day read an affidavit and some of the details that I will not repeat. Whew. Was part 4 called Blink Twice or Blink Again? Because I know Blink Twice was a really creepy movie. That's another one that left me unsettled. Brings you up to date, uses more of the footage, which can you believe that Combs was going to use this for his comeback, but Curtis used this as a clapback? It's crazy. Standout moment for the episode was when Kirk, his childhood friend and co-founder, was forced to give back his quarter ownership with a baseball bat. He too was also abused. Final scenes where they showed most of the people that were interviewed and their facial expressions just showed this clear path of destruction that Diddy caused. I almost looked at all these facial expressions as checkpoints of people who could have said or did something at a different interval in time that would have stopped the ripple effect of it happening to someone else over time. I have to be very careful about this because I don't want to say that these people are enablers necessarily. The one thing that this documentary affirmed for me is it didn't have to go this way. All these people didn't have to be impacted and influenced the way they were if something happened earlier. Now, I don't know what that something would be because honestly, if this guy is as wealthy, as powerful, as destructive as they say, I wouldn't want to stand up to Diddy. I also wouldn't want to be in his presence, but I'm not these people, so I can't speak for them.
I think somebody put it best. Consequences and rewards are personal. And I was just watching the Diddy documentary, and the level of self-absorption in that man is in many ways what turned him magnetic to the world. Somebody who genuinely believed he was everybody and everything and the most deserving and the most high was attractive in part because you see how many reports he has of misconduct. You see how accused he's been. And he's only facing consequences now, and they're not really that bad.
It leaves a lot to be wondered, and I'm going to leave it to you. But I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say because that's the thing about a topic like this. It's so polarizing. It's ever evolving. It has you reflecting back on the past and seeing things differently, and that's exactly what time capsules do. So if you want more of this type of content, you can head over to Patreon. And until next week, stay blessed, stay authentic.